So we are live. Oh, we can do touch-ups. Retouch on. Oh yeah. Well, oh, it made my hair even more orange. Not the touch-up I was looking for. Anyway, guys, short stream. Requested by Jonas. Shout out to Jonas, and shout out to Percy, who was over on my Discord, and says, could you touch on these topics? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So it's just going to be a quick MMA talk regarding some things that he asked me. So first of all, he was asking me, Josh, hello there, mate. How's it going, Josh? Josh, I'll let you know in advance, my friend. This is not Fortnite talk, right? This is going to be MMA talk, my friend. So get your gloves ready. So yeah, let me touch on best MMA gloves. That's what people were asking me also in the last live stream that we did, where we were live streaming the actual MMA training. So I put a link in the description, right? I recently got these, right? So there you go. I'll show you how to put these on. Don't worry, I'm bored, so I thought I'll pop by. Absolutely, you're always welcome to pop in. Just don't want to bore you with the topic. It was specifically requested by a friend that I do this stream, just to show these gloves, right? And also to talk about Israel Adesanya and Khamzat. So these here, these are XL, right? So I've got a pretty big hand, I guess. I'm about 6'2.5", so that's 188 in centimeters. But like, I haven't got like this. I'll show you my hand, right? So, and these are the gloves. So these are XL. So if you're getting these, make sure you don't train with them. If they don't fit, make sure you return them, because Amazon is great for this kind of thing. It used to be, I'll get Cyclone. Yeah, get Cyclone. Get him in here. We can beat him up. It used to be that when you ordered something like this, returning them was like hell. Even if you went into the shop and then you returned these, it was absolute hell. So with Amazon, you order these, you have a month to send them back. But I still wouldn't train with them, right? Just for hygiene reasons. Because you have to send them back and they have to sell them to someone else. And they can sell them brand new or used. And if you're selling them used, then the next person has to disinfect them, which you should be doing anyway, right? You should be cleaning your gloves. You should be cleaning your training stuff, because you can get a rash very quickly. And if you're doing grappling, right, you're going to get your fingers cut, right? So I don't know if you see my cuts. I actually use hand cream. These guys are going to laugh. These guys are going to say, is this a cosmetic thing? Or like, is this a channel for cosmetics? I got this in Korea. It's coconut care, right? So I put it on around my neck, because I get cut on my neck quite often. And I put them around my fingers. Cyclone is bought back. It's not back from school yet, but he said he will join. If he joins, he joins. He's always welcome. Good lad. Stay in school, Cyclone. Not like Josh here, running away from school to watch me talk about clubs. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only teasing. So when you're getting these, make sure you get maybe like a light shadow boxing, or put gloves on your hand, like a white glove or a latex glove. Then you can put these on, right? And then you can do a bit of shadow boxing, a couple of press ups, stuff like that, some basic stuff, a bit of stretching, and see if they fit. These aren't ideal, man. These aren't ideal. I took L and I took XL, and I returned L because L was too tight. And this is XL. This is might be a little bit too big. But to be honest, I'm not having that major problem because I normally flick the jab anyway. So it's okay for me. But as you can see, the little finger here is missing, but it's not like it slips out during training. So it's okay for me. So you always want to make sure that they fit around here, but this is slipping down, way down here. So yeah, I can pull them, I can make them as tight as I want though. So they're okay. So I put the link in the description if anybody wants to check them out. And there you go. What does that say? Madgun. I guess that's the make. So they have Christmas sales, they have Black Friday sales, and they have all different types of sales throughout the year. And you can get these kind of off-brand for 20 euros. That's about £25, 25 US dollars, something like that. So these right here, this company here, they sell boxing gear, Thai boxing gear, and MMA gear. It's worth checking out. It's worth checking out because if you're going for the bigger brands, then I'm assuming you're competing. You'll get bigger brands sponsored if you're competing anyway. So there's no reason to like, shell out that extra money. Having my after training shake. So I'll get to the shake in a second because Jonas was asking me what I put in the shakes to recuperate after training. And he says he's having skin issues. So I think the ingredients in here will help. 20 to 30 euros. If you can get 20 to 30 euros, a little bit bigger, not too tight because you don't want to cut off the circulation. Especially if you have another grown human being on top of you and your fist is underneath your back or whatever. You don't want to kill off the circulation. You always want to have a nice good circulation, enough space. These here, these are a beauty. These I can highly recommend. Link is in the description, y'all can check it out. As far as recuperation shakes go, so Jonas was asking about this. I've put blueberries, apples. You can put a touch of vinegar if you want to clean out your stomach if you're losing weight. If you have to like compete within 3-4 days and you have to lose a couple of pounds, you can always do that, but be very, very careful with that. You don't want to overindulge in weight lossing techniques for MMA because you can seriously injure your health. There's something called the German diet, and I think they add, it's like you're drinking sugar with water. And if I remember correctly, Yoel Romero says that he was doing the same thing when he was training for the Cuban national team for wrestling. Be very careful about weight loss techniques and trends that pop up on Instagram and TikTok because most of these people aren't actually competing. If you need weight loss techniques and tricks, ask people who compete, ask your teammates. Some techniques is just adding lemon to water and skipping a meal and drinking that instead. But I think if you're preparing for a tournament or if you're preparing for a fight, waiting 3-4 days prior to your fight to start losing weight rapidly is just stupid. That means you're having two fights. You have a fight against the opponent and you're having a mental fight against yourself. And the worst thing about that is you cannot rush it. You can't rush it. You can't lose 5 kilos within a day, right? Unless you're damaging your health, unless you're cutting your arm off or whatever. So I tend to say it's a marathon, not a sprint. And if you know you have a fight coming up in 1 month's time, then you can do it comfortably. But I'm also not a big fan of consistent weight losses to cut weight and make weight. I think you should be competing in a natural. Um, Josh just says, "I got my brute and my biscuits." Enjoy your weight loss program, Josh. So yeah, I think you always want to stay as close to your natural weight as possible. So to answer Jonas's question, once again, I think this was for Stevie, right? Or was it for Percy? Percy was asking about the gloves. Um, Pineapple. Cheers, big ears. Pineapple. Apple. It's very good for your skin. Um, Oats. Nuts. Certain nuts like walnuts are really good if you're having skin issues. For recuperation though, pineapple and coconut. So coconut water, if you add coconut water to the drink, not only does it, in my opinion, help you lose weight, but it helps you stay hydrated with less. Then again, you can also just be drinking water. I mean, it's also good, right? There's nothing against water. Cyclone just entered. What's up, Cyclone? Welcome, welcome. Just doing a quick MMA chat. It was a request from Jonas and from Percy. And we're talking about training methods as well as recuperation methods. And the best gloves for MMA, which are these here, at least for MMA training. So blueberries, I think, are great. Pineapple, one of the best things for recuperation after MMA training. So it depends on what kind of training you're doing, right? So let's take the hardest element from MMA, which is wrestling. So, and the easiest, which is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And it's not to diss like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or anything like that. I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I only get to train it like once or twice a month because of my schedule. But I love it. You get the gi on, which is pretty cool, right? Like a judoka. And you get to pull at people's clothes and stuff like that. So it does have a certain self-defense element in it. Plus it has a whole extra level of craziness when you're pulling at someone's outfit, when you're pulling at someone's gi, and they're pulling at yours simultaneously. So it adds to the craziness. Karim, you doing a Fortnite stream today or no? I'll try. If I do, it will be a short one, like a really short one, and it would need to be before about 7 or 8. So I'm taking a break now to do this real quick for Jonas and Percy, and then after that, maybe in an hour's time or something, I would do it. Because I've still got some video editing to do. So I'll try and... if Fortnite needs an update today, you can forget it. Like, if Fortnite needs an update, I won't be doing it. Then I'll be sticking to just video editing. Because the Fortnite updates take hours and hours and hours at times. So, yeah, with my PC, I don't think so. But if it doesn't need an update, maybe we can get 1 or 2 games in there. So, as I was saying... pineapple is really good. So if you take wrestling, for example, right, and you're doing wrestling, you're going to have a shoulder pain, back pain, your joints and your ligaments and whatnot. Adding pineapple to your smoothie, not necessarily post-training, but for the next morning, and also prior to your training. So in the morning of your training, if you know you're going to be doing wrestling training or catch wrestling or any type of wrestling, right, then I think it's pretty cool to add pineapple and coconut water. Those 2 things are pretty awesome. And Jonas, for your skin, I don't even know if Jonas is watching this. Jonas can't comment, by the way. He can only send me like messages on Discord and WhatsApp because he's in Ethiopia, so they don't always allow the the commenting on the internet. So yeah, if you're watching this, I think all different type of nuts are good. Well, Arctum says, I think there is an update for Fortnite Skibbity Toilet. So I think that might not be possible for a Fortnite update. But welcome, Arctum. Welcome to the MMA talk session with Karim. So for those just catching up, best gloves, link in the description. And we're talking about recuperation. So best way to recuperate, pineapple juice. But like I said, you take it prior to your training. So if you're doing wrestling training, you're going to be falling on your joints and everything. So you take it prior to your training with coconut water. And I would suggest taking a cold shower before training and a cold shower after training. It's the best thing you can do, really. It gets your recuperation to a whole nother level. Preferably, you want to take an ice bath. Not a nice bath, right? So I know my accent can cause issues. I'm talking about ice bath. You put ice packs, you throw them in the bathtub, you fill the bathtub up with cold water, and then you jump in. After that, you can take a warm shower, but you should also finish with a cold shower. But that's a poor man's solution. But a really, really poor man's solution is just a cold shower. So just take a cold shower. That's one of the best things you can do for your recuperation. So Jonas was also asking, he says he went a run and then he had backaches and stuff like that. Don't forget to stretch. There's dynamic stretching that's proven to be very good before training. Cyclone just says, tell me if it's true, Josh. He's talking about the ice bath. So dynamic stretching is supposed to be great before training. I'm not a fan of dynamic stretching, but it's basically you get into a stretch position and you move sideways and sideways and sideways and sideways, and it gets the blood pumping and it loosens everything up. So that's one thing you could do, but I like to finish with a nice extra stretch of the joints, hips, knees, everything, so everything remains flexible and stuff like that. So stretching is very important. Then I cycle home for about 40 minutes. So getting to training is about 45 minutes because it's kind of uphill. And then cycling home is about 35 minutes. So when I get home, that's normally when I shower. So I don't shower with the other guys because it doesn't make sense, because I'm going to start sweating as soon as I jump on the bicycle again. And also on the bicycle, I'm listening to my music. So I'm kind of pumped up, trying to like beat all the traffic lights. So when I get home, I take a nice ice cold shower, and I think that helps your skin as well, because I'm like one of the few people in the training camp that like if I get a cut within a couple of days it's gone again, and also I don't suffer from dry skin. Yeah, goodbye my expensive limited switch. Limited switch? Switch as in Nintendo Switch, or switch for putting your heater, your is it with you? I'm chucking my Xbox out the window. Oh. See? I would like to think I've inspired people to come and train and throw out their computers and laptops and stuff like that and just come and train with us. What can I say? So yeah, so that's one of the best things you can do. So obviously on the day you're training, you want to check your diet prior and after. So you want to do both. You want to check your diet prior and after. So always make sure to make sure that the day, even the day before, you don't want to be eating anything like fried or like a big cake or something like that, because you'll feel sluggish on the day that you train. And if you eat healthy a day before, on the day you're training, then you're also going to recuperate faster the next 2 days. So there's something called afterburn, or I think it's delayed muscle muscle sourness or something like that. I forget the exact terminology. Um, Skibbity toilet update. Oh, that's a thing. He was asking what I meant by switch, but I don't know if he knows why we are saying that. No, I think that's an insider thing that I'm not familiar with. Um, what was I saying? What was I saying? It was about the diet, right? Yeah, so basically that's my tricks of recuperating and taking care of your skin. And when you get cut, like my hands have still got like some small cuts here and there. So when you get cut, the thing that you want to get is like a sink paste, like a sink paste. You want to rub that, just a little bit of that, onto your cuts. Normally oxygen does what it needs to, but rubbing a little bit of that on your cuts can help tremendously. Other than that, to avoid, oh yeah, it was the afterburn. It was the delayed, I think it's called the delayed burn. So basically it means you go training, the next day you're kind of okay, but the day after it, your muscles feel like sour and like they can't move and stretch properly. In order to avoid that, you want to use a roller, a decompressed roller. A decompressed roller is the best thing for your joints. So using that for about 10 minutes after training, you've showered, you've eaten, you've showered, you've taken care of everything. Then you use a decompressed roller. You could be watching TV or whatnot, and then you just roll your thighs over it, roll your back over it. Be careful when you're rolling your back, especially if you're a beginner. You might not have the strength to hold yourself properly when you're doing it. So make sure you're strong enough to actually do it. And yeah, that will kind of untie all the knots that will then lead to a delay afterburn. The brain rot is getting to bigger companies now. The brain rot. So what we are saying is that if there was a Skibbity toilet update, we are uninstalling Fortnite and chucking our stuff out the window. So Skibbity toilet is a real thing then, I guess. Good to know, good to know. Kareem, do you do ice baths? Yeah, I do ice showers, well, ice cold showers, and ice baths only when it's been something crazy, like if I've did a triathlon, then I know, because I don't really have a bath, like it's square, it's not rectangle, and it doesn't go up very high. So basically what I do is I chuck some ice packs, fill the water up, then jump in for like 20 minutes and just stretch in the bath. It might sound weird, and to be honest, it is weird. I remember I was doing it like a year ago or something, and my ex-girlfriend was like in front of the bathroom door, and she just heard me screaming like ah, and she just saw like there was ice packs lying all over, like in the hallway, on this little like tray that I just used just specifically for the ice packs, and she was like, okay, well, what the hell is going on? Like, what is he up to? But yeah, it helps. It helps. You just basically throw 5 or 6 ice. Like, they're very cheap. You can go to your local chemist or apothec or your local health store, and you just say, do you have like plastic health? And you fill them up with water, put them in the freezer, and that's your ice pack. And that's how you do it. So yeah, so be very careful also because of hypothermia. You don't want to freeze, but they definitely help. And stretching helps, and diet I'd say is probably the most important, because long term you're only training for 2-3 hours, right? and then you've got the whole day and the day before and the day after. So long term, if your diet's good, you're going to just skip over the training like it's nothing. But of course, if you're eating unhealthy, if you're also if you're training wildly, if you're training frantically, like if you're swinging your arms all over the place and trying to get takedowns without setting them up. So if you're acting stupid, then yeah, you're also more injury prone, and that will also take longer to heal from. So yeah, healing is something that's consistent, and it's something that doesn't. You don't just do it once you've trained. You prepare for the training so that you'll heal faster later on. Ishaya John says, Mirab the GOAT. Are you a Mirab fan? Listen, Ishaya, I have a question for you. So this is the reason why I did this stream, because a friend asked me. First of all, shout out to Mirab. I like his style. Khamzat versus Israel. This is the point. This is the original reason for the video. So my friend Jonas, he's just recently got into MMA. He knows even less than I do, and he doesn't train it at all. So he asked me, Israel might fight Khamzat. I can't pronounce Khamzat's last name. Shamayev? Am I pronouncing all the words correctly? I'm just doing it like the announcers do it. Khamzat versus Israel. So Khamzat recently had a fight against, I always call him Forrest Whitaker, but his name is Ben Whitaker. Forrest Whitaker is the actor. A really good actor, by the way. And Jonas is like super excited. He never knew there was an African champion, and Jonas is from Ethiopia, so he was like super excited. He went, "What? There's an African world champion?" And I was like, "Well, Israel was champion, and he was really good. Like Israel was superb. He was a great kickboxer, and he brought the stand-up game back, like Anderson Silva did." Because Anderson Silva was also somebody who was very unique. He was an exemption to the rule. Anderson Silva didn't have wrestling as his base. And he did practice grappling a lot. And he's surrounded by the Nogueira brothers, and they know how to grapple. Anyone who knows Nogueira brothers know that those guys are very dangerous with their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since the Pride days. But I personally, I like Israel Adesanya. I like how he markets himself. But I was happy that I didn't find an announcement that Israel is going to fight Khamzat. I like Israel too much, and I like Ben Whitaker, so I felt very sorry, because here's the thing: Khamzat is very dangerous catch wrestler. I think he's a catch wrestler without knowing it. So wrestling is his base. He's super athletic. He's very big for the division, and he cranks submissions. Like, it's something you never want to do in training. So if somebody's got you in a rear naked choke, you don't want them cranking, right? And you wouldn't do that to your training partner either. You don't grab their arm and start cranking their arm, because it can damage their ligaments, it can tear something, it can bend the bone, it can break the bone. And especially with the new guys who don't yet know how to tap. But anyway, long story short, I think the way Khamzat goes about things is very, very dangerous, and I would hate to see the fighters that made UFC interesting the past 3-4 years be cannon fodder for him, you know. And I'm thinking, well, there must be a point where Israel will say to himself, well, it might be time to retire, because he can have good matches with people like Ben Whitaker, he can have good matches with people like Sean Strickland, even though he lost that match. But I would hate to see him versus Khamzat, because Khamzat doesn't have an ego. So when he's fighting, if the guy's a better striker, he'll try and match the strikes, He'll try and cover the strikes before he goes in for the takedown and starts causing absolute hell with his wrestling. And he is, in my opinion, currently uh, the best wrestler in MMA. Now, people say, oh no, John Jones is the best fighter and he's a wrestler. Or people say, no, Bo Nickel is the most decorated fighter. But I think Hamzat? I'm butchering his name. I think he is the best executioner when it comes to wrestling or catch wrestling currently. And that is very, very dangerous for anybody going up against him. So if you know Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and you go up against Khamzat, he's going to smash you. He's going to smash you because the wrestling gives him the positioning, and then he'll just crank whatever he gets a hold of. And he broke. Ben Whittaker's a very tough guy. He's a very strong guy, right? And he's got a big, neck, and he's got a big chin. And he broke all of his teeth. Like, his teeth are inside his tongue. That was brutal to watch, man. And I like Ben Whittaker. And the funny thing was, Khamzat says that he likes him. Khamzat Hazma? Ah, you mean Khamzat, right? Khamzat versus Khabib. No, Khabib's been retired for half a decade. Half a decade. That's crazy, right? Think about that. He hasn't fought in 4 years, 5 years? It's coming up for 5 years, right? The last time Khabib fought was 2021, 2020, I think. So we're not going to see them fight. We're not going to see them fight. Plus, Ben was hiding his chin. Yeah, he kept his chin down low, right? He got his chin annihilated. Plus, I don't think Khamzat will fight against Khabib. If Khabib was active, I don't think the two of them would fight against each other. And I'll tell you 2 reasons why. First of all, Khabib is trying to expand people from that region. Now, I know Khamzat is not from Dagestan. Khamzat is originally from Chechen and raised in Sweden, right? So, but he still belongs to the group of beards with no mustaches. And you know what that means? That means great wrestling. So I don't think, I think Khabib would support him. And they have been in talks in the past about him training with Khabib. Khabib trains everyone. Khabib trains every day. He trains every day. Yeah, he does train every day. He's on Instagram every day. You see him with, training everyone. He himself keeps fit, but there's no way he's coming back. He started fighting because of his father, but he stopped fighting because of his mother. His father passed away during COVID, so that was it. His last fight was his last fight. He won't come back because his mother said to him, she says, I don't want you coming back. Khamzat versus Khabib in a street fight, no preparation. I'd give it to Khamzat because, right, here's the reason why. Khamzat is middleweight, struggling to maintain his weight so he can participate in middleweight. So if he's struggling to participate in middleweight, and Khabib only ever fought in one weight class, which is one, two. It's 2 weight classes under Khamzat. He has a weight advantage, and because both of them have wrestling as a base, the weight advantage does come into play. And Khamzat is more of a catch wrestler, and he's more brutal. So Khabib when he likes someone, for example, Daniel Poirier, he, Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje. He didn't break Justin Gaethje's arm. He could have broke Justin Gaethje's arm, but he didn't. He instead ended up, I think he put him to sleep if I remember correctly. So I would say Khamzat liking Ben Whittaker, being a fan of his, and then breaking his teeth into his mouth, I would say he's the more brutal of the two. Which is why I would give it to Khamzat. Let me know what you think about that, but I would give it to Khamzat. Also, both of them have been in street fights. Both of them have talked about being in street fights. But Khamzat is very much in love with the idea of street fights. He absolutely adores, like when he talks about used to being in street fights and being a doorman in Swedish clubs and stuff like that. He absolutely adores. You see his face light up. He's like a little kid in a candy store. So he adores street fights. He loves it. And he says he used to provoke people that were bigger than him, tougher looking than him, to get into a street fight because it was just so much fun. Despite that, the dude is like super kind, right? He goes with his training camp into the ghettos in Sweden, and he gives them like the homeless, he gives free sandwiches, old pairs of shoes that he used to own. He gives them clothes and stuff like that. And he, on his recent win, I don't know who it was against. Was it against the Nigerian Nightmare? I think it was against the Nigerian Nightmare. He won that fight, and then he announced in the microphone that he would love for the war to stop because children are dying and whatnot. It shows his character. So he's got kind of a two-sided character. He loves street fights, he loves fighting, he loves competing in the UFC. And there was a period of time where he would consistently just look for fights in any division. And he was fighting in 2 weight classes, which is extraordinary for a guy in his size who should be going to like light heavyweight, you know. But on the other side, he's very like, he wants peace for everyone, and he wants everyone to get along. And when he had some arguments with the Dagestanis, you can actually watch the video. You can watch the video. It's on YouTube. Khabib and him and some other Dagestanis were standing together, and Khabib says, "Look, this is our future champion. We're pretty sure he's destined for greatness, and we had some issues, and we got rid of those issues, and we're going to eat tonight together, and we're going to be brothers from here on out." And Khamzat was kind of very respectful towards that. However, in a street fight, if they didn't know each other and they both were supposed to just fight each other, Khamzat is a catch wrestler in my opinion. He might not even know what catch wrestling is, but he is a catch wrestler. So yeah, I would give Khamzat the win. Oh, Misanthropy! Hold on. Wait, hold on, I need to get this ready. Hold on. Right, this is just for Misanthropy. Don't forget to like and share, guys. MMA talk today. Right, so right, load up. There you go. A punch for Misanthropy. Once again, guys, like I said, I put the link for these in the description. In my opinion, the best MMA gloves. Some of my colleagues in the gym were saying that getting hit by these is a bit dangerous because it can cut, right? It can cut because they're so it's like a tough material. It's fake leather, but it's a tough material. My opinion, if you're doing light sparring, these are the best. If you're going into a real fight, then you want something a little bit more like Pride gloves. But yeah, still, really good gloves. reduced to €20 in Black Friday, and they're going to have another sale on Christmas. So it can do Sclafani. How are you, Misanthropy? We're talking about recuperation. So we went through recuperation. Jonas asked about recuperation. What's the best way to recuperate after training? And congratulations on Jonas. He went to his first jiu-jitsu training as well in Ethiopia. And he said he had a great time. He thought there would be more like ground. And they actually did stand up a lot. But he did, I think he did Japanese jiu-jitsu, which is different than Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Josh says, wait, where you come from again? So I'm Irish. Miss Anthropy says, oi, Ginger, I just got the call 5 minutes ago. Somebody is going to make some nice money from the 1st of the 1st, 2025. Are you going to be fighting those underground tournaments, Miss Anthropy? So yeah, I guess you're going to start on the 1st instead of the 20th, right? So Miss Anthropy's starting a new job. She's going to be a bodyguard for P. Diddy. Yeah. Tom versus Jones. Tom Jones. Where is that Welsh guy? Chris Stalcup says, I think Charlotte is going to beat MVP next year. You know what, Chris? Michael Venom Page should have joined the UFC 6-7 years ago, in my opinion. If he had lost his first 2-3 matches 6-7 years ago, it would have been okay, because he would have had access to better trainers, better competition. He would be able to have progressed a lot faster. But instead, what he would do is he would have people from the UFC shout him out. He would completely ignore them, and he would go to India. Now, I love like Indian wrestling and whatnot, but they're MMA fighters. It's just something that they've recently started. In India, there's just been a recent reoccurrence or a recent boom of wrestlers, but I'm talking about WWE type wrestlers, because of the, what's he called, the Indian wrestler, the big tall guy, the great, I forget his name. So when I speak to my friends who are in India, they're like, oh, my little brother is getting on my nerves, he wants to go and learn wrestling because of this guy. So there's just been a recent resurgence, but there hasn't been like any strong development in MMA the past 10-15 years in India, and that's where Michael Venom Page ended up traveling to compete. I think it was for 2 fights. So when he's competing there and he's doing like the turn and the hits and stuff like that, I think he can get away with a lot more because the opponents don't know what to expect. They don't know how to deal with it. But if you're in the UFC, well, you can see what happens when Wonder Boy tries those things. He has to fight really good wrestlers who want to take him down. And I think that would have done MVP like a world of good joining the UFC 5 years ago. Just my opinion. I love his style. Oh yeah. His style is definitely very entertaining. Low kicks and more low kicks. MVP is really entertaining to watch. I could watch MVP just on a, like Michael Venom Page, right? That's who we're talking about. I can just watch him on a bag and just watch how crisp and clean, because he comes from point karate and kickboxing, right? By the way, did you hear the story about his father? Oh my goodness, man, that was crazy. His father, apparently also a very good kickboxer, well known in London. He, I hope there's nobody too young, but he was molesting children for over 20 years or something like that. When I heard that, I was absolutely shocked. And MVP was fighting Paul Daly, and Paul Daly is a big trash talker. And Paul Daly says, I'm going to sit out this one as far as trash talk is concerned. By the way, that's a good fight. Paul Daly versus MVP. In my opinion, it was the first fight that MVP really got tested. And then he fought that Muay Thai fighter where he got knocked out. It was his first ever loss. And 50 Cent was in the ring, and you could see 50 Cent was like this. Because 50 Cent bet a ton load of money on MVP, probably, and he lost it. But yeah, he's a great potential. Hopefully he can still make something out of it. But Ian, what's that Irish guy's name? Ian something? Ian Gary? Ian Gary beat MVP and basically controlled the fight using wrestling. And MVP tends to have issues with wrestlers. And the UFC is currently overloaded with Dagestanis. So, not quite sure how many in his weight class, but he's going to have troubles against Dagestanis and All-Americans because one thing he did do is he went and trained with Tom Aspinall. So for about a month, he's been training with 2 months. He's been training with Tom Aspinall now. So for those of you that don't know, Tom Aspinall, many consider the true heavyweight champion of the UFC. His father was the first ever person in Britain to get a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The first ever person outside of Brazil, I don't think he was, but one of the first ever. And he's from Wigan. For those that don't know, Wigan is the home of catch wrestling. Probably the most effective art when done correctly. Dalip Singh, the Great Khali. The Great Khali, that was the name. The Great Khali recently opened up training facilities for people that want to do wrestling and boxing in India. And since doing it, it's taken off quite well. But they're still a good decade behind on MMA, at least. I mean, MMA is an ever-evolving sport, so you can kind of jump into it any time. But they're still far away. They're still far away from doing it. And India has a history of great wrestlers, by the way. Also, there's a great movie from Bollywood. It stars Amir Khan, the actor. I forgot the name of it, but it's produced by Disney. And it's based on a true story of him being a great wrestler. And it shows you how Amir Khan gets into shape. Like, he lets himself go, and he eats ice cream and stuff like that to put on weight for the role. And then he films his scenes as the father. But then he loses the weight and then films the scenes as a wrestler, and he's in amazing shape. So it's a really cool movie. I mean, he really rocks it, and he's good wrestling, by the way. You know Fortnite? I've heard of it. I got the OG pass. Nice. Well, you are an OG yourself, man. You're an original gangster. Ashaya John says wrestling over grappling over striking. Yeah, I'd say theoretically. So my wrestling coach says if you get a couple of wrestlers, like a Division 1 wrestlers, and you teach them how to a crank submissions and rip people's by the way, what's going on with my hair? Sorry about this, guys. I just washed my hair earlier on. My hair remains undefeated, so yeah. He says if you get a couple of Division 1 wrestlers that practice catch wrestling, he says you'd have an army of catch wrestlers, and you just add the submissions on, right? The basic submissions, because they already know how to control, but sometimes they're a bit out of their depth when they need to submit. But as far as controlling goes, if you look at Islam, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his surname. Islam gets the person into position, holds them in position, and then when he's ready, then he starts pounding on them. Or then he starts going for submissions. By the way, the first fight between him and the Australian guy, that was a great fight. Second fight, the Australian guy, he took that fight on short notice. Shouldn't have taken it on short notice. You need to prepare well if you're fighting Islam. I also got to go to the cinema yesterday. Well, look at you. I also might be autism because I had an autism test today. Regardless of what you are, my friend, you're always welcome here. And you're still a great human being, so remember that. Autism, no autism, whatever anyone has, anxiety, confidence, Down syndrome, super intellect, whatever it is, as long as we treat each other with respect, that's the most important thing. JJ says, how are you? JJ, hold on, I've got something for you. Let me welcome JJ to the stream. Hold on, he needs one of these, right? Everyone who's a legend needs to be welcomed to the stream properly. Right, there we go. You ready, JJ? And boom! That one's for JJ. That one's for JJ. For passing out reboot cards at funerals. Welcome to the Club Sans. Oh, Silver, you have autism as well. Wait, it says you have an up-and-coming live today. It says you are live as the title. I don't understand that. So it says that I'm live right now? Well, I am, I guess. So yeah, so that is my summary in regards to the Israel Adesanya and Khamzat fight. If it happens, I don't think Israel should take it unless he's going to focus on his wrestling for the next 2 years, like go to Dagestan and wrestle like crazy, because he's going to need anti-grappling at a whole other level in order to be able to impose his own style, which is a striking style, a very good striking style, a very dangerous striking style, but nonetheless it's primarily a striking style. I've never seen Israel Adesanya do a takedown, and MMA is the kind of sport that you need to be well-rounded in order to be harder to figure out. JJ says, what's happening today then? Oh, we're just having a what do you call it? So Jonas and Percy, they wanted me to talk about MMA, and they asked me some questions, how to recuperate after MMA training, like best gloves for MMA. That's why I've got my gloves out here. There's a link in the description if anyone wants to get a hold of their own version of these gloves. And talking about one or two fighters. So no Fortnite. I think Fortnite needs an update today, so I think that's not going to happen, because tonight I've been invited to go to a jazz club, so I'll probably not be doing the Fortnite stream, because Fortnite update is like 10 hours. But here's an offer for those guys that want to have a game. Not Fortnite, but they want to have a game. How about Among Us? Among Us. JJ says, you're fighting. Not today. I'm going to a jazz club today. But I will fight you if you offer it. You know me, I'm a peaceful... I'll do the Welsh accent for you. I'll be a peaceful man now. But you know that JJ, he needs a punch in his face now. No, I'm only kidding. We love JJ. All hail JJ. Arctum Silver says, no, just ADHD. So, ADHD, Silver, if you don't mind me asking, what's the best way that you've found to cope with that? And what would you recommend to maybe someone else who's somewhere on the spectrum of ADHD? San says, people keep unsubscribing from me. Well, if they unsubscribe from you, then it means you don't have no value to give to them, which is okay. And you don't need them to stick around. If they want to go somewhere else, let them go somewhere else. It's okay. It's okay if people unsubscribe to you. It's okay to break up with your girlfriends or your boyfriends. It's okay to have change. It's more important to have people who subscribe to you, whom you can connect with. Unfortunately, I know most of the people that have subscribed to me very well now, so hiding. I haven't played Among Us since 2022. Yeah, I could flip the computer on and do an Among Us stream. I have ADHD, used to take meds for it. Thank you for sharing, Ashaya. In your opinion, do you have the same question that um, I asked Silva? Do you have any suggestions as to how to best cope with it? Like, is there any, for example, sports? Because if you tell me something, I'm going to remember that. And if I ever have anyone who comes to the stream and they say they have ADHD, I'll say, well, somebody tried this or somebody tried that. So I'm always open to hear or listen to another person's suggestions. I'm always open to learn a little bit more about that. I remember back when I lived in Scotland, there was a teacher who said, there's no such thing as ADHD. Just throw them on the football field or in the rugby field. I'm like, that's generalizing it a little bit too much, I'm all for the not soaking in your disadvantages, but I think that was a little bit too harsh in my opinion. That guy was pretty harsh in general, but yeah. Yeah, don't forget. Right. Next topic. Tom Aspinall versus John Jones that we can touch on real quick. So, people were asking me, do I think Tom Aspinall would stand a chance? My personal opinion, the question should be formulated differently. Do you think John Jones would stand a chance? Dude, that Tom Aspinall is one heck of a monster, and he's a natural heavyweight that moves like a welterweight. Like, Tom Aspinall is super fast, super freakishly fast. And I don't think John Jones will ever fight him because John Jones can't create a plan. He can't create a plan. John Jones is a very Floyd Mayweather type fighter. He'll analyze not only somebody's movement, but also the decrease in that person's speed, the decrease in that person's power, and the decrease in that person's ability before he'll accept a fight. When he takes risks, it usually doesn't go as well for him. So he took a risk with Dominic Cruz, and the first time he fought Gustafsson, and that almost went downhill for him. So guys, don't forget to like. I'm installing Among Us now. Oh, so JJ wants the Among Us, huh? He wants this smoke. Ashaya John says, who you got? You talking with Tom Aspinall versus John Jones? Is that who you mean? San says, can you share my account link? Your account link? What kind of account do you want to share? Don't be sharing any of your private information. Guys, once again, I know we all know each other, most of us, but don't be sharing your private account stuff or anything like that. Also, your private information. You need to keep your information safe. I'm not quite sure what he meant. Silver says, just accept it as normal. You get depressed and frustrated if you focus on random stuff and don't take drugs, prescriptions. A lot of people get addicted to the pills. All right. So don't let it drag you down, and be wary of prescription medication that can get you addicted. So that's the two takes that I got from that. Yeah, I think Jones wins by sub. Oh, that would be very hard. That would be very hard. Don't forget, Tom Aspinall's been teaching jiu-jitsu, 2 black belts, since he was 16 years of age. His father was the first ever person from Britain or Ireland to have a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So he basically grew up with that. And he himself didn't have a black belt, because I think you're not allowed to have a black belt until you're 18, some weird rule. So he was stuck on, what is it, gray belt or blue belt? What's that? No, it's not blue belt. It's another color belt that you get if you're 16, but you're very good. Yeah, and also he comes from the home of catch wrestling. So he's pretty... Oh, and did you see his rear naked choke? He adjusts it to chin. So from jaw, nose, jaw, throat. So that's typical catch wrestling. Like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they'll try and get in, right? So they'll try and lift up and secure, right? So that's the way Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu normally does it. And the guy behind you will force his weight forward and then kind of, right? Like, see that beautiful face? And in catch wrestling, it's a whole different beast. They'll say, okay, I'm not getting this. Okay, I'll take this. Oh, you're defending that? Okay, I'll break your nose. Oh, we're not allowed to break the nose? All right. I'll dismantle your eye socket. So it's a tough one. John Jones is maybe more well-rounded, and he's more experienced, especially as far as going the distance. But it's a hard one, man. When are you doing Among Us stream? Oh, I can do an Among Us stream. Pretty much covered everything on this, so maybe in about 15-20 minutes, something like that, if enough people want it. If enough people want Among Us, then we can do that. Oh, nose and mouth. Yeah, that's a typical catch wrestling move. That's how if you look at my face, this part here is more hollow than that part, right? And the reason was, like, it wasn't the eye socket, it was the jaw socket. So when I go like this, you see my jaw goes chuk chuk chuk, right? So it doesn't hurt or anything like that. But I remember I got that popped when one of my buddies who does catch wrestling was yanking my jaw. It's like, and I was like, oh. And I was like, my jaw, watch my jaw. And he was like, what was that noise? And I was like, watch my jaw. So yeah, they have no issues. You don't get the jaw, you take the teeth. You don't get the teeth, you take the nose. You don't take the nose, you take the eye socket. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is more like position before submission. And catch wrestling is catch as catch can. So whichever you can catch, you take and you break. So that's Tom Aspinall's strength. He has no issue breaking whatever you give to him. And he's a very tough dude. And plus he has more access to heavyweights that are way bigger and stronger than him, than Jones does. Can you tell everyone to get me to 100? And that sounds, now I know what you're talking about. All right, so you know what I'll do? I'll do an Among Us stream in about 20 minutes, during which we will promote you to mod just for 5 minutes. Just for 5 minutes, right? And then you can promote your YouTube. So guys, in case you're wondering, I wasn't sure what Sans was talking about earlier on. I was like, well, what does he want? He's 95 subscribers right now, and I think he wants to get to 100. His user is Nikki Kemp 374. Wait, your user for what? I'm lost again. I thought I was understanding what he was saying. What do you post, MMA? Oh, do you mean Sans, Ashaya? No, Sans is like... Sans, I think Sans does like computer games. He comes to when I do like computer game streams like Fortnite and stuff like that. I don't think he does any type of sports. He should though. I'm just saying. When you search, it pops up on my channel. Right, so it pops up. When you say channel, you're talking about your YouTube channel, right? Give a full sentence. What do you, like a full sentence with a full explanation? Because I can do an Among Us stream. We can have an Among Us stream in about 20 minutes. and then you can post. I'll make you mod, and then you can post your channel, and then everyone can try and subscribe to help you get to your 100 submissions. 100 submissions, 100 subscribers. I'm still thinking MMA. By the way, normally have wrestling training tonight, and I'm going to be skipping it because I'm going to go to a jazz bar. A friend of mine, she invited me to a jazz bar to go and check it out. So yeah, I'm going to be all sophisticated and whatnot tonight. It will probably delete. No, not if I make you mod. If I make you mod, that's YouTube's version of God, mod God. And then you can kind of do everything. But don't try and block me, because once I made somebody mod, it was Australia. She's literally from Australia and called herself Australia, and she tried to block me from my own stream. Just subbed, Sans, you're 5 away. Oh, look at that, Silver helping you out. Yes, thank you, Arctum. There we go. Did you sub back? GG says, what can I do to get mod? Well, I know what you can do to get me mad. Gingers are cool. I only met 2 gingers in my life. Thank you, thank you. I'm happy that... By the way, it shows down at the bottom that there's 0 viewers, and yet people keep talking to me. I don't know, maybe it's because it's subscribers. So maybe that's the reason why. YouTube is weird. Don't forget to like, guys. Give it a thumbs up. Gingers are cool. I'm glad you're happy. Do you know there's not a single ginger fighting on the UFC? Oh no, there is one. Corey Feldman. That dude's an ugly guy. That dude's really weirdly ugly. There's technically nothing wrong with his face. It's just he's a ginger. Some ginger on ginger hate. Yeah. You only met 2 gingers. Well, if you ever come to Ireland or Scotland, then I'm pretty sure you'll meet more gingers there. Oh, Canelo's a ginger. He's a Mexican ginger. That is so cool, man. Our DNA is spreaded everywhere. Yeah. I tried dyeing my hair brown about 2 months ago, and it came out more ginger. And I was like, oh, no. And I need to get a haircut. Look at the sides. I look like one of those princes from Shrek. Look at that. Look at that. It's better to just shave this all off. It says 5 watching? Seriously? It literally shows me 0. I don't get YouTube. Anyway, to help Sans with his subscriber count, we'll try and work something out. And this Saturday, hopefully, I don't know if it's going to be this Saturday, but the latest will be the Saturday after next. We will be doing our live MMA streams. So you guys can join me in training, and you can see me get my ass kicked from my teammates. So usually Lucas, who has been doing MMA for about 5-6 years, he joins me for the live stream. And if you guys have watched the last live streams, you'll see that he usually dances around a bit. Somebody was like, he's a really good dancer. And then I just saw the message, but I didn't see him dancing. I was like, what did I miss? And Mano, he's our boxing coach. He'll probably transition over to MMA pretty soon now that we've started MMA every Saturday. Heim Trainer Coach says, how are you, Mr. Davis? Well, Heim Trainer Coach, how are you? Hamika, kemilacha. Mine says 7 watching. Mine still says 0. I don't get YouTube. It's a weird place. JJ says, I'm ready for Among Us. JJ has some of the best comedic timing I've ever seen. He is super hilarious. He can roast people, and he also enjoys getting roasted, which makes him double fun to hang out with. But he needs to learn, not timing, he needs to learn not repeating the same joke over and over. He does a great Mickey Mouse. It sounds very weird. It sounds like Mickey Mouse is dying. Like, oh, Like, it's really weird, but he just kept doing it, and I had nightmares because of it. Sans says, can anyone else help? Sans, calm down, we'll make you mod, and then you can post, and then you can get like viewers and stuff like that. We'll help you. We'll help you. Don't worry about it. We'll get you there. Ashaya says, I'm hyped. Oh, is that for the Among Us? Yeah, I'll do that in about 10 minutes. San says W1. He's just trying to get to 100 subscribers, right? JJ says, can I have mod, please? JJ, there is no way in hell I'm giving an under 18-year-old mod who is being trained in school to become a professional troll. You'd end up blocking people who you don't like, and that's not what a mod's supposed to do. A mod is supposed to protect people from creeps, you know, block them from bots, from people that come in swearing like crazy and stuff like that. So yeah. But do your parents know you watch my streams? I hope it's only the child-friendly streams you watch. I hope you're not watching Dead by Daylight. Crazy guy. Anyway, so yeah, Israel versus Khamzat. I'm picking Khamzat, even though I love Israel. Tom Aspinall versus Jones. Slightly picking Tom Aspinall. I think Tom Aspinall should have another 2 fights, and then he would be ready for Jones. Once he has a really good competition that gives him a run for his money, then he'll be ready for Jones. And I think Jones shouldn't take that fight though, because Jones should, you know, focus on the legacy thing that he's always talking about. No, I've learnt my lesson once with another streamer, and now I got it back, so I'm pretty responsible with it now. I literally told him that I watched you like 5 times. All right. I'll take your word for it, but still no. So, guys, I'm going to cut out. We're going to do the Among Us streams. So remember, anybody who's looking for this right here, really good gloves. Description has a link. You can go and check it out. And yeah, the shake that helps me recuperate before and after training. You actually take one before training, like a day before. Pineapple, apple, blueberries, nuts. You can add soy milk. You can add regular milk, I guess, if you want. But there's so many healthier milk alternatives, you know, that you can take. And yeah, just watch your health, watch your diets, watch your mental health. Make sure you always keep training. I got hacked once. It was a sad day. I cried. Oh yeah, I recently got hacked on Facebook. Somebody hacked me on Facebook, and then they contacted the people that I'm friends with on Facebook, and then they showed a picture of me, but they used AI to make it look like I was kidnapped, and it didn't even look anything like me. But like, the guy on the picture wasn't even a ginger, but he did kind of have like my facial features. So I was like, wow, they don't even try nowadays, the hackers, eh? They're just so lazy with it. But yeah. Oh, that was a call from my brother. All right, so it's Among Us time. I don't know if you guys can still see or hear me, but we are going to go and play Among Us. I'll set it up in about 10-15 minutes, and I'll see you all later. Thank you once again for joining. John, JJ, Sans, Heim Trainer, Silva, Miss Antropy, Jonas, and everyone else. Oh, Josh and Cyclone, I think, as well. So thank you once again, guys. I wish you all the best, and I'll catch you in about 20 minutes.